Well, in Kumasi, Ohiminteria toured the affected communities. Here's his report.
For almost 2 hours, commuters were stuck at home, bus stops and in traffic as some streets and suburbs got flooded. Affected areas include the Kwamo-Ejeso stretch of the main Kumasi-Accra road, Kumasi-Obuasi and Kumasi-Tamale roads.
Just this morning, when Kumasi experienced an hour or two downpour, this whole area got flooded. The situation means vehicles that ply this particular route are unable to access the road here.
Stranded commuters and drivers complained about the failure of authorities to address the poor drainage challenge.
Nsuo twa yentimi mfa ha. Se wan pe ba bia mfa nsuo ne beyira fa oka no. Eni pe fa akro bi ho a je se ebi wo mo ho den no. Omo fa wo mo na omo de omo atwa kwan nim. Te ha ne de nsuo twa enya asem ketwa kra. Eya na no den papa se nsuo ne to na obegina esoro akaka na oto ani a. Je se asoche ade ba no. Se wo ye nipa kra no ampe ba bia nyina ebetumi afaw.
At South Junction, for instance, a chain of mechanic shops got submerged as stranded shop owners idled about.
Intimi nya adwuma wo ha. Ka intimi mfa ha. Etimi wai quota no na de begu e shop wo no. Ba ne titu ne e bridge na e wa ha no mo no. E wo se bridge na ye de. Ye hwe ne ye. E na gates na wo hin na de. E mosisi ntina nso nto anya kwa ba bi nya de emfa no. Ti nso to de ya ha no de etimi nya adwuma wo ha kora. Nso nto a etimi yi fa car e wa ha no nyina. Yetimi nya adwuma je so wo tu seat ni nyina no ye de. Wa ahuro ma wi abomansa no ye de o nipa kro car ye de ama no. E sa so nipa no kon so a o ma biom.
Assemblyman for South Central, Kwame Asafo-J echoed concerns of motorists and commuters. He appealed to government to improve the drainage system on the Bekwai roundabout, Santasi roundabout road.
If there is a heavy downpour, movement is slowed. No one can pass through this channel to where he or she is going. Seriously, you will see a heavy traffic here, both sides. You know, vehicles cannot even pass because the last time it rained heavily, when you get into it, maybe like it will be on your shoulder or wherever. And it's you know, there was a time one lady, the water wanted to take her away, and we helped. Through those who are doing this washing bay here, they helped, they swam and brought the old lady out, and it's very bad. It stops activities, you know, children going to school, vehicles taking people to the market or their workplaces. It will delay them till when the water is down before they can go, and you saw it wastes a whole lot of time.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
We know some roads in the Upper West region have already been destroyed by floods in the last week. Today, we are hearing about some destruction of roads in the northern region after Monday's floods. Martina Bugri joined the roads minister to tour the affected areas, and here's her report.
Monday's floods in the northern region capital Tamale and its environs will go down history as one of the heaviest in the area. The rain destroyed several properties and also affected roads. Inspecting these roads to assess the damage done, the Minister of Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoakwata, said there was the need for the redirection of drains, construct more and design the internal roads of the metropolis to control floods.
The impression I have, starting from Tamale internal roads, we have a big problem, and we have a big challenge. I think we have to look at the design of internal roads of Tamale differently, because I have realized that there are about 2 main storm drains, long ones running through Tamale, and Tamale Township has a problem. We have to look at it properly, redesign the internal roads, redirect the channels, build more drains to control particularly the rain waters. Tamale is in a mess. And if we don't engage in that assignment, Tamale will continue to have problems anytime it rains.
The minister, who also assessed roads in the Saviligu and Nanton district, said there were some of the roads who were so bad that they were inaccessible and needed a helicopter to access these roads.
There are some areas that we can't even access by road. And again, thanks to the Ghana Air Force, tomorrow they are assisting us with a helicopter for us to have an area view of all the disaster areas. So perhaps I'll be able to give a fair comment tomorrow before we move to Upper East. And as we did in Upper West, where the situation is now under control, same is going to be done for here.
At the Kalaraga community, where they have had 2 floods already in the year, he described the storm drain running in the area as substandard.
You don't even need any engineering brain to know that the work done there was not perhaps well designed. Well, somebody will call it substandard, and there was no proper coordination, because you saw that even the storm drain constructed there, had already fallen in.
The minister earlier visited the Northern Regional Minister, Alhaji Shani Alhassan Shaibu, to have first-hand briefing on the situation before hitting the ground.
There's a historic building there. They all ran up there because they thought that water was coming. They didn't know that the fuel that was under was coming up. Yes, I have the pictures on my phone that I would share with you later. So we had to cordon off the place for the safety of people. We thank God that we didn't register any human casualties, but we registered human losses, property losses. People really lost property, but we're fortunate not to lose human lives.
That is Martina Bugre's report. So what is going on with our weather and our cities? We're joined by Engineer Abdullahi Mahama, and also with us on Zoom is the Ghana Meteorological Agency to try and understand why we're experiencing these rainfalls and the intensity that we're also recording. Let me start with the officer from the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Thank you very much, Raphael Osei Boachi, Senior Meteo Officer at the Kotoka International Airport. Why are we experiencing such amounts of rainfall at this time of the year?
Thank you very much. Good evening and good evening to your viewers. It's not quite a news. In September, we expect the minor rainy season to begin. And between September and October, we expect minor season, especially for those of us in the southern half of the country. August is the main peak, the maximum rains for the northern sector, whereas September, October, it moves down south to the southern half. So it's not quite a news. We had it last year too, just that last year it delayed a bit. And then previous years before last year, it's not quite different from what we are having this year. And as we still expect more to come because we are now entering September, and October will be quite even on the high compared to September. So we should be on the alert.
So, but let's look at the intensity of the rain that we are recording. Is that also normal?
Yes,
around this time of the year.
Yes, just as I said, from ending of August, into September. September actually is the main month. The September, October is the main rainy season. Sorry, the minor rainy season, and where we expect rainfalls to fall between 50 millimeters and to 70 millimeters in a particular day where you have rainfall, and that is what exactly we are getting now. So it's not quite different from what we have been experiencing previously.
Okay, and I asked this because, like you rightly said, it is supposed to be the minor rainy season, but we are seeing cities being flooded, and I'll return to you shortly, sir, to tell us what we can expect. You've already given us the indication of what to expect in October, but we'll come to the details of that. Let me speak to Engineer Abdullah, who is also on Zoom. Engineer, we are seeing that our cities are being flooded, especially major highways. Here in Tesano, it's an annual ritual. Every time it rains, that spot just in front of the police training school and the Ghana Telecom University always gets flooded. There are other ports that I'm sure viewers can relate to. What is the problem?
Well, I would say a good evening to your viewers. I think we know the problem around the Tesano areas as well as the capital. We are in a low-lying area, and the way and manner in which we do our desilting of the major receptor in Accra, i.e. the Odo, is not so welcoming. I expect that the Odo should be an annual or daily ritual where we would have to ensure that we get to the bottom of the Odo prior to receiving the rains, whether it is a minor rain or a major rain. Now, I've been doing this calculation over the years, and I feel like when you see the Odo at its peak, over the past few years, I've still not seen an extensive excavation or desilting of the Odo. Like I always say that if you pick from the sea area towards Tesano or Alaju, let's be within the approximation of 3 kilometers. And if we want to do an extensive desilting of the material, or i.e. the silt material there, we should be talking in the region of over 270,000 cubic of material. And if you want to do that desilting, it's not anything less than 6 months and above. I said this last year, and then the former consultant to the Ministry of Western Housing, in the person of Engineer Wasametepe, re-echoed what I said. But with all this, you see, we have just lined the drain from the sea area towards Alajo, Abofu area. Yeah. Now, just behind Abofu, towards Domipila 2, towards the Birekusu Road, is what we call the F line, or the F excavated storm drain. So, if you look at the Odo is occupied over 85% or so by silt. And you know that no human being goes to deposit silt in a drain when there's rain. So I always say that even though we are in discipline, you only see the polythene bags on the surface of the Odo. However, the major component that is increasing the siltation of the Odo is silt. How can we eradicate this one from the Odo? We need to go beyond the Abofu stretch and then start to try to line the drain from that place towards Adomipila 2, towards the Brekusu area. Otherwise, we would always wait for the time to desilt. And when we desilt the drain, in the next 1 week, 2 weeks after the rains have come, it washes all the silt from the Abofu up Domi to Brekusu Strait. Now look at what just happened about a month ago on the Kwabenya police station to Halcho Road. The first time in the history of Ghana, we've had an extensive flooding of that area. Why? Just after the Kwabenya police station en route towards Halcho, the development in an otherwise buffer area down south from the atomic area has been overlooked by the assemblies. And there's an extensive walls which are constructed within the swampy area, blocking the water from coming to Accra. And so when you start to have these bottlenecks of water, which is a responsibility of the assemblies. See, let me just give you one quotation so that maybe on a longer day we can have this discussion. Sure. The building regulation 13B, and that's 2, state that no one should develop any land which is liable or which has a probability of becoming a flooded area until an alternative solution is given for a flood-improved area before permit is given for such developers. Now, when you move on those roads and you see gargantuan developments springing up like mushrooms along those atomic areas, which all factor into the experience we're having around Tesano, Abofu, straight towards Odo? Who are those assemblies, and why are we allowing the assemblies? I've always been saying that if the assemblies sit up at the assemblies and start to work, the Land Use and Special Planning Act of 2016 and the Building Regulation 1996, LI 1630, when these institutions start to use this one, Accra, and for that matter, Ghana, will start to experience minimal flooding. However, if we don't do these things and put a check on the assemblies who allow permit to be given to people to put up structures in swampy areas when they don't have an alternative solution, or making provision for alternative routes for these waters to actually be channeled strictly. When we have those turbulence, that brings about the increase of flood we have in Accra.
So like I said, you have dealt with the issue extensively and given us the larger picture on how to deal with this right from the source. You mentioned the Dome area. Now, with the specific area, just in 30 seconds because we don't have time, the specific area of Tesano, can engineering provide some solution even as we wait for government to deal with this holistically? Can we do something in the interim?
We have to look at whether the drains are silted. That's it. Because see, in doing a design along a road highway, some of this flooding is expected. You can have minimal flooding because it will go because of the terrain you have. But you expected that within some short time, all those runs water should be able to find themselves into the adjoining channels. But if we don't try to distill those areas, then this is what we're going to experience every other time. Every other, and unfortunately, that this is what happens every year when we come and speak up. The solutions are there, and the assemblies ought to sit up. When the assembly sit up, you and I will be the beneficiary at the end of the day.
Great. Engineer Mahama, I want to thank you for your time. Let me just quickly wrap up with our officer from the Meteorological Agency. You have indicated that in October we should have some more rains. What happens from now till then? Tell us about the kind of rains, and is this nationwide or just down south?
It's nationwide in the early days. In the early days, we expect what we are having over the northern sector to recede. Then as it recedes, and then we expect the southern half to enter into the main minor rainy season. That is between September and October. So before it recedes from the north, you will still have some torrential rains over the northern sector of the country. As I speak to you now, there is another rainstorm on the way now over Nigeria, and we expect it to be in the country in the morning to affect the northern sectors of the country. The middle as well will also be affected, so we should be on the guard.
Okay, so thank you very much. That's a senior officer at the Meteorological Agency stationed at the Kotoka International Airport. You are warned, you should expect some rains from tomorrow, and you should update yourself with the Meteorological Agency, their website as well. You're watching Journey's Prime with me, Ernest Mini. We're taking a short break.